This is In the Zone with Ian Robb and Dancin Rodda. One's a mental toughness coach who also helps riders with recovery. The other, a horseman with soul, who is also a marriage counselor for the rider and horses. Together, they dive beyond ribbons and rankings to where real riders train, the mind. From elite arenas to quiet barns, this show is about the mental edge, the recovery rhythm, and the heart that keeps you in sync with your horse and yourself. So whether you're tuning in from the tack room or the open road, saddle up. You're in the zone now.
Welcome back to In the Zone with Ian Robb and Dancin Rodda. Today, we've got not one, but two elite athletes in the house. She's a professional show jumper, and he's a professional baseball pitcher. And together, they're rewriting the playbook of competitive drive and shared passion. Please welcome Taylor St. Jacques and Chandler Jowiak.
Hey.
Hello.
I got Dancin Pete with me too, guys. Don't think I left him behind. So Dancin Pete,
I didn't have any lines this time.
I said we're gonna have some fun here. Let's get kind of
So as we start off, because some people when they listen to In the Zone with us wonder why we have people that have nothing to do with horses. In my opinion, in my teaching, no matter what you start with, martial arts, baseball, since we got a pitcher on our hands, and horses, they all end up in mastery in the same line. So we talk about the same things when we get to that level. So that's why we have a dog in the background.
Yeah.
That's why we want to have more than just equestrians on here. And now that we have both of you, this is going to be even better.
We're excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
100%. So yeah, it's fun because I played many different sports when I was growing up, football, basketball, and tennis. And I had different coaches in different ways and kind of helping me on out. And so before we get started here, why don't we let Miss Taylor St. Jacques tell us a little bit about herself and how she got started. And then Chandler, yes, we'll let you come in too. Okay, so go ahead.
So I'm Taylor. I'm 26 years old now. I started riding when I was 4. My mom grew up kind of playing all the sports. They lived on a ranch at home. She kind of rode horses for fun, nothing super competitive. When I was younger, introduced me to all the sports. I played basketball, I played softball, I played soccer, gymnastics, you name it, I did it. I fell in love with the horses. So when I got to the age where kind of had to pick one to pursue, a pony sounded a lot cooler for Christmas than a tennis racket or a soccer ball. So I stuck with the horses, was a working student my whole junior career, finished out my junior career at Heritage Farm with Andre Dignelli, Patricia Griffith, Dottie and Lena, the whole crew there. Contribute a lot of my success to my hard work and everybody that got me there. It really did take every trainer, every mentor, everybody to get me to the top. It was definitely not a solo ride. So definitely very, very thankful very gracious for all those people. Finished out my junior career, very decorated, lots of championships, finals wins, junior hunter finals, the junior amateur Grand Prix medal finals, I won. Washington equitation finals, I won. Then I was second reserve champion at USET in Washington. After my junior career, I went on to Auburn University, rode on their Division I equestrian team. We won 3 SEC championships, 2 national championships. I hold a win record there and lots of Rider of the Year awards. It was actually my trainer at the time, Lucy Davis, who really encouraged me to make the most of my time there and get an education out of it. Doubted her at first, but kind of kicked myself into gear and ended up graduating cum laude from there, something I'm very proud of.
Wow.
Started my own horse business after school. Do a lot of buying and selling, consignment, training of horses, and I'm kind of just getting into the coaching side with clients as well. So it's kind of a start to finish rundown on where we are so far.
And Chandler, yes, we're going to let you speak too. So give us a little more of a background on you before we just start talking more about mindsets.
I mean, it's going to be pretty tough to follow that up, but yes, I'm Chandler Jowiak. I'm also 26. I'm a Texas boy. Recently started coming to Florida about 4 years ago when I was drafted to the Miami Marlins, but started playing baseball when I was around 4 years old. in a town called Brenham, Texas, which if you look it up, it's actually the baseball capital of Texas. So it was pretty much you played baseball or you moved to a different town. And grew up in a baseball family, was an all-state player in high school, outfield, pitcher. Ended up going to Texas A&M to just pitch there for 4 years, and then was pitcher of the year there my last year. Never won a championship, which was unfortunate, but got drafted in 2021 to the Miami Marlins and been coming here ever since, made it up to AA baseball, and eventually met Taylor about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And, the horse world is down here and there's some good baseball down here. So now I'm coaching high school baseball and a lot of high school kids, giving some lessons. And that's kind of something I've always wanted to do. My older brother does it, and I look up to him, and he's a very good coach. And so hopefully I can be a coach like him one day.
Awesome.
Wow. I feel inadequate right now. Okay, Taylor, when did you first know that show jumping was going to be more than just a hobby?
Probably when I hit that 13, 14 years old is when it really kind of clicked that okay, this is more than just something to do for fun. Growing up, I played all the sports. So kind of when I hit the age of, that early teens, kind of had to pick one to pursue. It was kind of getting hard to do all the sports all year round. So ended up going with horses, and, can't say I've ever really looked back. It's something I was luckily naturally gifted with. A lot of the feel, just the understanding of horses, my horse IQ, I feel is pretty high. So it's clearly what I was destined to do. So stuck with it, never looked back, and we're still here. So
since we have Chandler here, same question. When did you realize that you could go professionally?
I guess when I realized I could go professionally was probably around my senior year of high school. I kind of made a jump in my pitching ability, kind of a velocity jump, about 4 or 5 miles per hour, and started getting some calls for some big D1s and some MLB scouts, saying they were interested, saying I was on their boards and stuff. I guess how she said, though, when I really realized it was going to be baseball for me and I played football and basketball. I think it was around 13, 14 years old. I broke my wrist playing football, and I realized I was way more upset that I wasn't going to be able to play baseball in the next few months than I was about being out from football. So that's when I kind of made the decision. It was baseball and nothing else. But probably around senior year that if I really focused on the pitching side of baseball and, dedicated everything I had to that, there was a good possibility that
how fast did you throw?
A senior year, I threw around 89, 91. And then the last pro ball, college ball, I could get it up to about 94, 96.
Wow. Lefty or righty?
Lefty.
Yeah, same with me, my friend. Same with me. But I was ambidextrous in basketball, obviously. So it's kind of interesting. The sports I learned how to play, I had to do righty.
Yep.
Baseball or I write righty or bat righty, whatever. But anyways, enough on me. I don't think they really want to know about me too much. So kind of an interesting thing, though, since you guys were both compete at high pressure environments. Taylor in the ring, Chandler on the mound. What does it feel like when you're in the zone? And how do you get there? So what does in the zone mean to you guys? And how would you get you guys so focused on what you were doing?
I think my favorite line is, I like to win, but I hate to lose. And that's kind of always been my mentality. And it's not even just while I'm in the ring with the horses, it's with everything in life. I come from a very competitive family, and I'm very competitive natured, just who I am. So that's definitely always helped when it comes to focusing. Not to say I've never been a nervous person or struggled with nerves or struggled with getting focused. We're all human. We all make mistakes in order to get better. And I definitely struggled a lot with the mental side when I was younger. And I think honestly, college is when I really had to strap myself down and be like, okay, you're old enough now, you've made mistakes, you know what works, what doesn't work. I kind of learned my routine of how to really get myself focused and get it to a point where it was it was only me in the world that mattered, especially really my last junior year for sure, which would have been going into my freshman year of college, with all the finals and stuff, kind of having to block out the noise. And when I was in the ring, I heard nothing, saw nothing other than the moment I was in. You honestly kind of black out, to be completely honest, is what I would say when you're really in the moment and really focused.
I would go through steps when I would play tennis. I have the lines on the court, but also the fences. And this was my stage. And kind of like that movie Chandler 2, it's like, what, For the Love of the Game with Kevin Costner? I love that scene. Okay.
Great movie.
Go right into it. Are you able to, or were you able to do that too?
Definitely when I was in the zone, for sure. For me, I guess getting focused, it was kind of like, as an athlete, no matter what sport you're playing, I kind of look at it as if you're not able to get focused, it's one of two things you're doing wrong. It's either you're not preparing the right way. And if you don't prepare the right way and have done everything you can to get ready for that next game or that next match or the next show, then you're going to be thinking about that. You're going to have doubts going into your competition, and you're not going to be able to focus completely on what you're supposed to be doing and how to execute to succeed. Or, just your passion for what you're doing isn't 100%. And if you're not all the way into what you're doing, then, you shouldn't be doing it, because you're not going to be great at it or as good as you can be at it. And then being in the zone, for me, it's kind of like she said, you're kind of blacked out. It's if you're rolling, if you're doing something the right way, it's because, like I said, you prepared the right way, and you don't have to think while you're doing it. You don't have to be thinking the whole time, if I'm doing it right or how to do it right. It's just you're rolling. So you're blacked out, and you just do it how your body has prepared and trained to do it. And it's like my college coach had this saying, and I say it to a lot of my kids in high school because, they need to hear it more, is keep it simple, stupid. If you prepared the right way, then everything out there should be simple and you shouldn't have to think.
I love doing this because the more we get into this, somebody in baseball says what I say when I teach. So I love this one.
There you go.
You're making it too complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Chandler, I would never say that to Taylor, by the way.
Oh, no.
Just a little personal, not professional, but personal advice when we come to relationships.
I agree.
So since we have both of you, what advice would you give the other to better their game? Since you know a little bit of what the other one does, but because you might be able to help the other one with something that could help them when they're in the zone at their sport, what advice would you give each other?
All right. Before you answer, just don't be too mean about it.
Oh, now we know who the sensitive one is.
Be gentle.
Well, to perfectly follow that, I tell him all the time, he needs to be meaner to his kids. He needs to be stricter. He's the passive coach. It's if you make him mad, you really messed up. I tell him all the time, he needs to be meaner and stricter. That's my advice to him.
Okay.
That's
So I would translate that for you into be assertive.
Yes.
You got to have the balance. If you don't have the balance, then somebody's going to run you over and the other one's going to go, oh, the coach likes me. I don't have to really work. Good. All right. Now you get to get her some advice.
Probably the same thing backwards.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say too much because I'm sure y'all know, I don't know a lot about the horse world. Honestly, I don't know anything at all besides I like which horses I like just because of how the color of them or something. I'd kind of say the same thing. She's stubborn, very stubborn. It's kind of her way or the highway. And most of the time it does work out. Most of the time she is right when it comes to the horse world stuff. But there are some times where she could dial it back just a little bit and just kind of see the other side of things, give it a chance. But, like I said, she's always right. So it doesn't really matter.
Just breathe. Yeah. Chandler, I got to tell you something. My girlfriend, same thing. She keeps on reminding, it is her curse that she's always right.
Exactly.
I have the opposite. I'm the one that's usually right.
So it's interesting. For me, in tennis, I would tell my players, have a positive physical response after they would play a point, whether you win or lose. Don't show that you got that emotion right there. Then I have them breathe, Taylor. Breathe would be the next thing. Relax. And then the third thing would be your rituals. on what you want to kind of do. And then before that, you would focus on what you want to accomplish and then do the rituals before you would either ride or you would pitch. Do you guys have certain rituals that you guys would kind of do before you would compete?
My biggest thing that I used to always do to kind of calm myself and focus myself, and I still do this in like big competitions, not as much for the like training classes and stuff, but I walk my course, whether that's an equitation course, a jumping course, or a jumper course. I walk the course, I make my plan. If I don't go first 10 in the order, I usually watch the first one or two, and then I go and completely remove myself. I go either back to the barn where nobody is, or I go up to a part of around the ring or near the ring where I'm by myself. And I kind of sit in silence and I clean my boots. That's kind of my little nervous tick, is I polish my boots and am completely by myself for a minute before I go to get on. And it's actually, you can watch a lot of videos of me and see it, but when I'm walking to the ring or I walk in the ring, when I can feel myself getting nervous, I do this little like shoulder shrug. It's definitely gotten better as I've gotten older and the nerves have calmed down a little bit, but that was kind of my like mental reset and a way of calming myself. So definitely always going off to myself for a minute. I didn't want anyone coming to talk to me. I didn't want to talk about the rounds. I didn't want to talk about what my plan was. I would make my plan beforehand, and that was my plan. If I changed it myself in the meantime, that's one thing, but I didn't want to talk to other people about changing it or what was going on and discussing beforehand.
And then I guess for me, I kind of did two things. One was before the game would start, I would do a prayer just at my locker by myself. And then if it was my day to pitch, after my warm-up pitches and I got the ball back from the third baseman, I would take a knee behind the mound. And I always wrote family into the dirt and kind of just closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Because for me, family was everything to me. It is everything to me. And that was my why on why I played the game. It was always for them. And it just kind of brought me back into it and slowed the heartbeat down a little bit and just made me focus a little bit better.
How did you guys get back into the zone when you're at the last jump? You have to go clear. You have to make it the best jump round to win, or you're in the ninth inning and you have to strike everybody out to make it out of the inning and win the game.
I definitely try not to think about the outcome before we're there. That's definitely something that I've had to work on myself through the years, definitely, which is also a part of why I go and sit by myself. So I don't start thinking about, well, if I do this, then this will be the outcome. Or if I do that, then that's the outcome. I was always told to treat the last jump like it's the first jump, going off of, going to the last jump. If I still I'm jumping a clear round, need to keep the last jump up, or having the round of my life, don't miss the distance to the last jump. Basically being very present in the moment and not thinking, not one stride ahead, which, like I said, something I definitely have had to work on, not getting too excited before the moment comes. Low expectations for sure. As terrible and backwards as that sounds, I kind of set, like he said, keeping it simple. Don't expect,
that's a balance.
That's too much.
I always say that's a balance for students. One student I would give that advice to, the other student I'm like, you better hype yourself up because we're about to get in the game here.
Correct. It definitely depends on the person and their demeanor and their character and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm definitely one where, hey, like, take a breath. You're not there yet.
What about for you, Chip?
For me, it's pretty much the same thing. Like you said, keeping it simple, and not looking, for me, it would be not looking 10, 15, 20 pitches ahead, but taking it one pitch at a time and kind of just focusing on the stuff I can control. Like you said, striking out all three guys to end the game, like majority of the time you don't have to do that. So it'd be for me, like, don't try to strike these guys out. If they want to swing the bat, let your defense behind you do the work for you. That's why they're there. Just really keeping it simple and not getting, like she just said, and you just said, not getting too high or not getting too low. A good quote I like to say to my players, and I've heard and used over my time in playing, was, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. kind of stay on that straight line in the middle. Don't be on a roller coaster. So it's similar to that, just focusing on things you can control and keep it simple.
It's kind of interesting because both you guys, both riding and pitching, Pete, they can be unpredictable days. So Chandler, I'm going to have you answer this one first. Okay. Can you share a story of a major setback when you played baseball, and how did you bounce back from that?
Man, which one do I pick from? There's been plenty. I would say probably my freshman, sophomore year of college. So when I went into college, I was looked at as a kid that probably shouldn't have gone to A&M. A lot of people didn't think I was good enough to go there. Ended up winning a starting spot in the weekend rotation my freshman year, which is very rare in the SEC. So started off on a very big high, right? Everybody, knew my name. All these articles were about me, media calling. And about 2 months later, I was looked at as, the worst pitcher on the team. I really struggled. It was my first time in my career where, I wasn't the good one anymore. I wasn't the popular one. I wasn't good enough in my head, and I was still a kid. I was only 18 years old, but I was being looked at by these fans as, this unbelievable baseball player that was really bad. But, that really hurt me. That's when I realized, my mental mindset of things in baseball was not anywhere where it should be. I was really struggling, and I had to focus on a lot of mental things to get me back to the pitcher I should have been and I could be. And it wasn't really many physical things that changed. It was just being more positive, being more confident, and realizing, there's so much in the sport world that you can't control, that you just got to go out there and have that confidence and learn from your mistakes and take those failures as just opportunities to get better.
You could have that be a horse person, not baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was great.
Should we even have Taylor answer
Yes,
that?
we should.
Okay, we should. Okay, go ahead, Taylor.
Mine's not that good. That's a good one. I will say a tough part or a tough moment I had was 2016. I had started with Heritage kind of halfway through 2015, went to all my first finals with them, equitation finals. And then come 2016, I got the opportunity to ride Charisma. Horse people, everybody knows who Charisma is. Even Ian knows.
I knew Charisma back in San Diego, but go ahead.
So Charisma came into my life right before finals, actually, right before Maclay Regionals was actually my very first horse show with him. And regionals went well. It kind of brought a lot of confidence into our whole team. Andre and Patricia and the trainers, Lena and Dottie, everyone kind of saw our partnership just like take off very, very quickly. And it instilled a lot of confidence in myself as well. Growing up catch riding and all of that, I never really had a consistent horse. And this was going to be my consistent horse. So USET finals was our first final together, and it went exceptional. We had a really, really big outing. Following that horse show, a lot of people approached Andre trying to buy him, and he told everyone, hey, I have this horse for Taylor. It's not for sale. No amount of money. He got offered multiple blank checks. I mean, crazy. And so that kind of instilled a lot of confidence in me and confidence in the team behind me that they were there to support me. And I had a great group of people around me supporting me, there for me. We went to medal finals, and I had a really great first round. I think I came back top 5 somewhere coming into the second round, had a great second round, tested the top 4. And when we got to the test, I looked at the people that I was competing against for the final work off, and all of a sudden I felt puny again. I think I was the youngest one of the 4 of us, and all of them had been to finals 4 or 5 times at this point. This was only my second time at finals, and I definitely collapsed. Mentally, I let that get to me. I had probably one of my most tragic work offs I've ever had in my career. And it really knocked me down a lot. I went into that week with a lot of confidence, and I walked away from that week with kind of no confidence. And And it definitely took a lot of mental work and the people around me to kind of bring me back up and like, hey, like, you know, you're right there. You're knocking on the door. Like you should be proud of yourself for that, not defeated by the fact that you made a mistake. And that's when I really learned to instill in myself that you don't learn unless you make mistakes. And that's something I tell all of my kids is you'll never get better if you don't make mistakes. Anybody I coach, any clinics I give. And that was definitely what instilled that into my head. And, you know, we finished out the
champions
season.
have lost.
Exactly.
Champions have lost.
So the next show was better. And then, you know, following that week, I was like, okay, like, you know, I still have a whole nother year. And that was also something that I had to remember is this isn't my last chance to do something, you know, and then finish the year reserve champion at McClay finals. So it was definitely a short roller coaster, but it was a very steep drop, let me tell you.
You guys sound like you have similar stories just in your sports. Getting on to supporting each other. How do you guys support each other on having those kind of goals? And what do you do for each other to support? Are you a silent cheerleader or are you out there rah when he's on the mound and vice versa? Or are you yelling at him?
I'm definitely a silent cheerleader. Okay. I am always very much in his corner and, you know, without saying anything, I'm watching every move, coaching, playing, all of the above. I look into it a lot more than he thinks I do. He thinks I don't really pay attention, but I do. I'm definitely a silent cheerleader. And I think I'm not very good at communicating that part. I will say I'm not good at sharing my feelings in general. But I mean, you can ask anybody that I've ever spoken to in my life. I'm very proud of him and I'm very proud of everything he does and the person he is. And without a doubt, I'm his number one cheerleader.
There you go. Would you even wear a Texas A&M sweater to a game?
We're not there yet.
That was a no.
Not yet.
It's all good.
Maybe a hat, but not a whole shirt.
All right, Taylor, you're on.
I would say, you know, I'm kind of the same way, more of a silent fan. I don't do too much cheering during shows or anything like that. But I'm definitely a little different when it comes to after the show, especially if she has a good round. Like this past week in Ocala, she had 2 amazing rounds on a horse that I really like. So her coming out of the ring, I was definitely, you know, yelling a little bit, doing some cheering as she's walking out, not in public or anything. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass her too much, but her and her groom don't get too loud. So like, I feel like I'm the one that has to bring the energy a little bit, you know, when she deserves it. But definitely, you know, any show, I think I've made it to a lot of them. I love going to them, traveling with her when I can, you know, when I'm not coaching or playing. But I think we're both very supportive of each other, and we have a pretty good idea on how to deal with each other when we succeed and when we, you know, fail, and what we need to say to each other or not say at all. I was
going to say I wouldn't say anything to her.
Yeah, I know some people, you know, want to talk about it, but I think we're both on the side of, you know, when we're not rolling or not doing too well, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to give them a little space. And when they want to talk, they'll be ready to talk, and they know we're there for we both know we're there for each other.
That's great.
So that actually is very interesting because of training and travel and competition schedules. And Chandler, we're going to let you answer this question first. What's your secret in keeping a healthy relationship and a personal balance?
I mean, that's easy, and it's kind of a basic answer, but it's communication, you know, and I think that's the main thing. And are
you listening, Miss Taylor?
But
are you coaching?
Yeah, she's I think we're both we've both gotten better at it, communicating to each other about it, especially, you know, like you said, there is a lot of traveling we both do, especially this past summer. You know, she was going to Ocala every other week. I was going to I was going to Sanford, to Fort Myers, Jupiter, you know, anywhere and everywhere. And she's going to all these places around Florida. And it's mainly just communicating. And when we are together, you know, making the most of it. You know, a lot of people say we don't go do too much. And we kind of agree with that. We go do some stuff here and there, but we're okay with, you know, staying at home as long as we're with each other and just enjoying our time with each other.
Yeah, being an equestrian, it's like, oh, let's go to the beach. Let's go do this. Why don't we sit at home and sleep and watch TV and hang out?
Exactly.
But Chandler, I get it, because you just said what I was surprised about when I saw Taylor just recently, that she's been coming up here on a regular basis to the World Equestrian Center, and she never knocked on my door. She never oh my goodness. You know, I thought
to be fair, that's the only place I know that she goes to. I know there's all these other places, but it's towns that I don't know.
Let me get your number so we can communicate, and you can let me know, because every time she comes, I give my customers gifts, you know. So she got a little gift when she came up, and a puppy. Yes.
Yep.
Vocal. Well, I got a picture of that.
Now she might have to stay away from you, because we don't need any more puppies now.
Neither does Ian.
He's right here with us. He's a good dog. He's a good puppy.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah. Why don't you ask a question? Then we have our fun game to play soon. So get ready.
So recovery is a big part of the game. What's your go routine to get back and recover your body from doing what your equestrian stuff and then doing your pitching or as your coach? Because I know that where's people think coaching isn't that strenuous. And I always say the mental game is way harder than the physical game.
What quirky superstitions do you guys have?
I mean, the physical recovery part, I'm not very good at
all.
No, I really am not, to be completely honest. The biggest
How do you help your horses recover?
Oh, my horses are treated like kings and queens. Oh my gosh, they always come first. If they're feeling the least bit off, I need to make sure they're better. But definitely something that I wish I was better at is resting mentally, physically. I don't really hit the stop button or the pause button in my life. And I was kind of forced to last year. I had an injury that legitimately sidelined me. And that was the first time in my career, actually, that I was actually out and there was nothing I could do other than let my body rest and recover. And that's definitely something that I wish I was better at, was protecting my body and helping my body recover and mentally taking a break sometimes. But I do think that kind of my lifestyle and our lifestyle, we're lazy at home. My mom tells us that we're like old people. We have no problem making dinner, sitting on the couch all day, taking lazy days. we're not big on going out. We don't really go out to the bar. Like, we'll go out for dinner with friends here and there. But yeah, we're homebodies for sure. And that's probably the only recovery I do, for sure. Him, on the other hand, completely different story. He can tell that part.
At least while I was playing, I was huge into recovery. For me, it wasn't just, you know, the day I pitched or the day after I pitched. It was an everyday thing. It's kind of, I guess I'm proud to say it, since I started high school baseball up until 3 months ago when I retired, I've never missed a practice or a game that I've ever had from injury or being sick or anything like that. And I guess it comes from, for me at least, I was never the big kid or the strong kid, you know, so I had to work. I had to make sure I was recovering and going that extra mile to make sure my body was ready to go. Because, you know, if I ever did have to sit out from an injury or from being sick, you know, that's on the player. You know, that's on me for not taking care of my body. And so for me, recovery was a huge thing. You know, I can go be here for hours telling you what I did exactly, from arm care to, you know, my legs, my back, all of it. But I think it's very important. You know, I try to tell her as much as I can. Like I said, stubborn, doesn't really listen to me. Hopefully it comes sooner rather than later. But it's definitely important. And I tell that to my players all the time, that it's an everyday thing. It's not just the day you play or the day after you play. It's every single day, especially, for my players in the summer being in Florida, we're playing in 95, 100-degree weather. And, I tell them a week, 2 weeks before, hey, you need to start hydrating and taking care of your body to prepare for that tournament next weekend. Don't do it the day before or the day of, because it won't work.
Absolutely.
Very good.
All right, we're gonna have some fun now. All right, we're gonna play a little game. I wish we had some music, like when you see the shows right there. But this is a couple of couples challenge questions. Are you ready? So you're both going to answer these. Okay, who's more competitive between the two of you? Who really hates to lose and can give you an example?
Oh, I want to answer that one. Go ahead.
I think it's me.
Oh,
I'd have been wrong.
I thought it was Taylor too, but okay.
Yeah, I think we're both like equally as competitive, but he's better at the being mature about the losing part than I am.
I see.
Who would cry after a loss
or break the golf club?
So if you're talking about between me and her, I think it's me. But if you're talking about in general, probably her.
All right.
When I lose to her in anything, I'll show it. I'm mad. I won't talk to her for a few minutes or an hour.
like air hockey or something like that. You guys play,
or card games.
Golf
we play
or
a lot of card games.
Yeah, card games. Ooh, bushka.
Who's more likely to get grumpy before a big competition or game?
Definitely me.
Yeah.
This Taylor. Yeah. All righty. If you had to switch sports for a day, who would make the better coach? Taylor in baseball or Chandler in the riding ring?
Probably, I would say Taylor in baseball. Like I said, I don't know too much about horses at all.
Those kids would not want to come back to practice the next day.
No.
They'll be crying to their parents. Oh my goodness. That's for
For sure.
What's the funniest moment where your sports jargon confused the other? Like Chandler saying strike, or Taylor thinking it's a bad news for the horse?
Pretty much any saying when it comes to horses, I'm confused on. It's more so, it's funny when she's having a serious conversation with me and she'll say a horse term and I'm like, okay, you got to stop. What does that mean? And I don't know any certain term. There was one the other day you said sharp or something. Quetzal's sharp.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good thing. Yeah, she looks sharp. But I don't think it was meant to mean a good thing.
Yeah.
Something like that. But baseball-wise, she kind of knows her baseball terms for the most part.
The different kinds of sliders really throw me for a loop.
Oh, yeah. When she was trying to learn the pitches, it was tough for her.
So, let's talk about a date night preference. Would you rather have a date night at the barn or at the ballpark? Tell us why.
Ballpark, easily. Better food, better drinks, not as much.
Not at the World Equestrian Center.
You got a point. I do love that place.
Would you rather have a date? Okay, that was yours. Sorry. After disagreement, who's usually the first one to apologize?
Oh, Chandler, without a doubt.
Because she doesn't apologize.
I'll apologize days later and I'll throw it into a sentence totally unrelated and then be like, I apologize. I don't know what you're freaking out about.
That's too funny. So traveling quirks, kind of interesting. When traveling for competition, who's more organized? Who's more likely to forget something important? Now, it doesn't have to be for competition. It also could be you guys might travel together. You learn a lot when people travel together, my friend.
Oh, yes.
I don't think either one of us accidentally forget anything. We're both very organized and neat people, but she definitely chooses to forget stuff sometimes just so I'll bring it, and it's my fault that I don't bring it, but it's really still her fault, or it's too heavy to pick up. I have to bring it. So
he's more of a planner. I'm more of I'm better, panicked almost. You need to be finished today. Otherwise, none of this is happening. He's the one that'll he'll be finished 3 days before and be ready to go, suitcase packed, where I'll still be packing the morning we leave.
Wow.
I'm better under pressure when it comes to packing.
I need a deadline. Oh, it's due tomorrow? Okay, well, I guess I'll work on it tonight.
Yeah, I'll work on it tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the better cook, or at least the one who's likely to attempt cooking?
She's the better cook. For sure. I just kind of started cooking though. I'm pretty proud of what I've done, but it's not great.
To start.
There you go. Some fun right here. Let's make up a kind of a dream team. If you guys can create a new sport combining show jumping and baseball, what would it look like and who would win?
We stumped them.
Yeah.
But if we had to create a game,
Probably something like vaulting or something like that on the horses.
yeah.
And having to throw a pitch.
That'd be kind of cool. I don't know.
It'd be tough. We'd have to use like the minis probably.
I mean, like if we had to be on horseback, I think I'm automatically winning.
Okay.
But
Well,
like when it comes to the like
well,
accuracy part, oh, I'm definitely not winning. Like if we're throwing a ball, oh no, I'm not winning that part. So it depends if you need us to stay on the horse or not.
Okay.
That's the only way I'm winning is if we have to stay on the horse. Otherwise, he's got me in all the other fields.
All right, folks. I think we've just learned more about this couple than we probably should have.
That's the beauty of it. Mental toughness isn't just for competition, it's for partnerships too.
And maybe a little horse sense doesn't hurt either.
Or a good fastball. Hey guys, I appreciate both Dancin Pete, Rodda, and myself. Appreciate having you guys on our podcast. It's the first duel.
thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
That's a wrap on another powerful episode of In the Zone with Ian Robb and Dancin Pete Rodda. Whether you ride, compete, or simply love your animals like family. Today's episode was a reminder that true teamwork starts with connection and that health is the ultimate performance edge. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And catch us next time as we dive deeper into the mind, body, and bold journeys of top performers. Until then, stay focused, stay inspired, and keep riding in the zone.